Today is 8th of September 2025. The day before yesterday, I explained how essential the accurate aiming and initial effort in observing the meditative object. They are crucial in combating the first army of the Mara, that is Kama. Kama refers to sense objects and the attachment that we develop toward them, which can hinder and easily drag us down from meditation practice. Then I spoke about the Kama Vitaka, the thought of sense desire, which can arise when we lack the accurate aiming. Following that, I began to discuss the characteristic and effort, characteristic and function of effort. So before continuing further into the topic of effort, I would like to introduce the two more unwholesome thoughts that tend to arise when meditators lack to aim accurately at the meditative object. The second unwholesome thought that tend to arise when the aiming is absent or weak is Vyapada Vitaka. Vyapada Vitaka, that means thought of ill will or aversion. The thought of Vyapada, the thought of ill will, aversion, is likely to arise when meditators' mind is not accurately aimed at the meditative object. When the mind is not clearly directed or grounded in the meditative object, it easily becomes vulnerable to aversion, like displeasure with the meditation experience, irritation with the bodily discomfort, frustration with the wandering thoughts, can quickly evolve into subtle or the gross form of anger. This thought of ill will or aversion not only disturb the inner calm, but also poisons the mental environment. if left unchecked, it strengthens the habit of reaction to discomfort, intensified with aggression or aggression with cold indifference. The unpleasant conditions or the objects are the fertile ground of this second type of unwholesome thought, Vyapada Vitaka. They may arise through the sixth sense door when we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or think something disagreeable or discomfort. And this second type of unwholesome thought may arise again related to the past, present, or future object. So we can say past oriented the Vyapada Vitaka, present oriented Vyapada Vitaka, and future oriented Vyapada Vitaka. When you recollect, when your mind recollects something painful or someone who wronged you in the past, then Vyapada tends to arise, which is past-oriented Vyapada or ill will. When you feel discomfort, when you confront unpleasant sensation or condition right now, it may also cause the ill will or aversion, that is present-oriented ill will or aversion. When the object is future, anticipating discomfort or confronting the unpleasant sensation or fear, then future-oriented, the Vyapada, ill will or aversion, tend to arise. Here we can take some examples of these three types of the past, present, and future-oriented Vyapada. For example, you may think that, oh, I can't believe that they said that to me last time. I should have said something. This is past-oriented ill will or aversion. Or maybe I will never give up and forgive what that person did to me. You are recollecting someone who wronged you. Hence, this ill will aversion arise. Regarding the present, oh, this noise is so annoying. Oh, why is that meditator breathing so loudly? Or why that meditator is making a noise? Or maybe at times, oh, I hate how restless I feel right now. These are present-oriented ill will or aversion. With future, if I see him again, I will make sure to avoid him. Or next time she speaks like that, I will tail her off. So these are few examples of ill will or aversions that arise in our mind. And as I have just mentioned, they arise when you lack the accurate aiming, or your accurate aiming is weak, not strong enough. When accurate aiming is absent or weak, the second type of the unwholesome thought tends to arise. This second type of unwholesome thought, which is Vyapada Vitaka, may arise due to the second army of Mara. It is called in Pali Arati. Now we are talking about the second army of the Mara. The day before yesterday, I talked the first army of the Mara, that was Kama. I repeat, that was Kama. Now I am talking about the second army of the Mara, and that is Arati. I have already mentioned there are 10 armies of Mara. Mara, killer, none other than defilement. So Arati means dissatisfaction, discontent, or boredom. Beginners are more vulnerable to being attacked by this second army of the Mara, because they are still trying to adjust with the discipline of the meditation practice. During a retreat, for example, you may find yourself feeling dissatisfied or bored with various aspects of the experience. The schedule may feel rigid. The food may not suit your preference. Your cushion may feel too hard, or you may dislike waking up early because you are not used to it. You may feel unhappy with the room you have been assigned, the sitting or walking place, or even the structure of interviews. On the top of that, dissatisfactions often deepens because in almost every sitting you encounter unpleasant feeling, aches, discomfort, or tension. And if there is no pain, you may find that your mind is so restless. It won't stay with the primary object even for a second. There is a constant sense of failure or struggle. And you have to move slowly, speak mindfully, and even avoid looking around freely, which may feel unnatural or restrictive at first. This growing dissatisfaction arises because you are not yet able to immerse yourself in the joy of meditation. Perhaps you haven't experienced the benefits directly or wholesome mental states like rapture, joy haven't yet arisen. As a result, the mind becomes frustrated, agitated, and irritated, creating the condition for ill will and aversion. However, not all discontent with the meditation environment or its supporting condition is entirely the work of the Mara, nor is it always rooted in greed. In some cases, it reflects a genuine need for meditation practice to flourish. Certain basic necessities of life must be available. Yogis require proper shelter, sufficient meals, and a generally supportive environment. Without these, the body and mind struggle and practice becomes unnecessarily difficult. When these essential supports are in place, meditators can engage in the practice wholeheartedly with fewer distraction and less discomfort. In fact, the importance of a suitable environment is clearly recognized in the teachings. It is listed as the fourth of the 9 causes for the development of the controlling faculties or to improve in meditation. A suitable environment is necessary, essential in order to improve in meditation or in order to sharpen the controlling faculties. Without a suitable environment, it becomes at times quite hard to improve in meditation. So a suitable environment is essential. To overcome this discontent or dissatisfaction, you need to develop joy and rapture. Means to fight against the second army of the Mara, which is dissatisfaction and discontent. You need to develop joy and rapture. I haven't talked about joy and rapture yet. Later I will explain. But for now, understood yogis need to understand this. If you don't apply accurate aiming, if your effort is insufficient, and if you are not careful and mindful in your practice, you won't discover the wonderful taste of meditation. Without the joy, any difficulty you encounter, whether physical discomfort, restlessness, or mental obstacles, will easily give rise to aversion. Then Mara will be victorious. So that's why right now yogis, meditators need to be very careful to not to give arise, to not to give chances to arise the second type of the unwholesome thought, that is the thought of ill will or aversion, by observing the presently arising object or by application of accurate aiming and sufficient energy. So this is about the second unwholesome thought, that is thought of ill will or aversion. The third unwholesome thought is vihingsa vitaka. Vihingsa vitaka, the thought of cruelty. The thought of cruelty. The thought refers, which is rooted with cruelty, harshness, or intention to harm, destroy. Intention to harm or destroy. When your mind is not well directed to the meditative object, your mind again may be attacked by this third type of unwholesome thought, that is the thought of cruelty. And again, this thought of cruelty may arise through the sixth sense door. When we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, or think something that provokes harshness or that intention to hurt, harm, or destroy. Again, like Vyapada Vitaka, this Vihingsa Vitaka also may arise based on the three types of object: the past object, present object, and the future object. Or we can say past oriented, the Vihingsa Vitaka, the present oriented Vihingsa Vitaka, and the future oriented Vihingsa Vitaka. And here are some examples that may arise in our mind while practicing meditation. When you remember something or someone who have wronged you, you may think, oh, I should have yelled at him when he insulted me. Oh, I was so stupid not to hurt them back when I had the chance. So these are the past-oriented, the vihingsa, vitaka, which wants to harm or destroy. Which wants to harm or destroy. The present-oriented, the vihingsa vitaka, the example of the Vihingsa Vitaka, or I don't care if these ants die, they are annoying me. She is suffering, and honestly, I think she deserves it. These are some present-oriented Vihingsa Vitaka. And the future-oriented Vihingsa Vitaka is next time he talks to me like that, I will really hurt him. So this is the future-oriented Vihingsa Vitaka. Among these three Vitakas, the first Vitaka is rooted in greed. That means the Kama Vitaka is rooted in greed, while the second and the third Vitakas are rooted in anger. However, the second Vitaka destroys the loving kindness. The second unwholesome thought, which is Vyapada Vitaka, thought of ill will or aversion, destroys or defeats the loving kindness, metta. And the third wrongful thought or unwholesome thought, which is Vihingsa Vitaka, destroys the compassion. So, for Vitaka defeats the compassion. Means when you lack compassion, then Vihingsa Vitaka tends to arise. When you lack loving kindness, then the second thought of ill will and or aversion tends to arise. In this way, when meditators lack the accurate aiming, these three kinds of wrong or unwholesome thoughts tend to arise. When you lack accurate aiming, these three kinds of wrong or unwholesome thoughts keep loitering to arise in the mind. As soon as you miss to aim accurately to the presently arising object or meditative object, or when your mind slips from the meditative object at the beginning of the practice, they tend to arise easily. That means when you meditators aim accurately to the meditative object, you do not give chance to arise, or you don't give rooms to arise these three kind of wrongful thought. Your mind is free from these three kind of wrongful thought. These three types of thought are known as Miccha Vitaka, also known as Miccha Sankappa. Vitaka and Sankappa are the synonyms. Wrong or unwholesome thoughts, because they lead away from the path of liberation and towards further entanglement in suffering. So when the mind is aim correctly, it can avoid these three unwholesome thoughts. Instead of thinking with greed, anger, or cruelty, the mind stays on good and helpful thoughts. This is called Sammavitaka, right thought, or Samma Sankappa. It helps the mind stay kind and free from harmful thinking. Thus, Sammavitaka acts as a powerful antidote to Miccha Sankappa. That is what I just mentioned. Sammavitaka, which is accurate aiming, is powerful antidote to Miccha Vitaka or Miccha Sankappa. It purifies the mind by turning it away from greed, anger, and cruelty, and create the foundation for deeper insight and true inner freedom. So this is the immediate benefit of accurate aiming, that is vitaka. That's why the vitaka is crucial. Crucial to keep your mind free from these three kinds of wrongful thoughts, and crucial to observe the presently arising object. Every moment, every second, when you observe the presently arising object with accurate aiming, you free your mind from these three kinds of wrongful thought. Your mind is free. Or you become victorious. You become victorious against the three kinds of wrongful thoughts. That is why, in order to free your mind from these three kinds of wrongful thoughts, when you observe rising, you have to aim accurately. When you observe falling, you have to aim accurately. When you observe next rising, next falling, you have to aim accurately. When thinking thoughts arise, again you have to aim accurately. When unpleasing, when sensations, various sensations in various parts of the body become obvious and you tend to absorb them, you have to aim accurately. And walking, when you are about to observe the movements of the legs, you have to aim accurately. When you are about to observe day-to-day activities, you have to aim accurately. If your aiming is accurate, that is the Sammavitaka, and it keeps your mind free from these three kind of wrongful thoughts, and that is the immediate benefit that you enjoy having the accurate aiming. Now we have already talked the immediate benefits of the accurate aiming and the three kinds of wrongful thought. Now we proceed to talk the second level of effort. I have already talked about the first level of effort, that is launching or initial effort. Now it is time to talk about the second level of effort, that is uplifting or boosting up energy. Launching effort, once you may be able to stay mindful of the primary object for a time. But it doesn't always lead to smooth sailing. Hindrances still arise, painful sensation, sleepiness, or other forms of distractions. You may find yourself becoming an innocent victim of pain, impatience, distraction, expectation, drowsiness, or doubt. Perhaps you had been enjoying a certain degree of calm and comfort, like you are able to stay with the primary object with relative ease, but suddenly difficult objects arise and begin to assault the mind. Pain intensifies, restlessness creeps in, or a wave of sleepiness dulls your awareness. In these moments, the mind tends to become discouraged or lethargic. At this point, simply the launching effort is no longer enough. Now, the launching energy is no longer enough. The initial momentum begins to fade, and you need an extra boost, an inner source of energy and determination to rise above the hindrances. Last time also I gave this example. Consider the image of an old, dilapidated house, its structure weakened by age and neglect, teetering on the brink of collapse. A mere gust of wind could easily bring it down. However, if you were to prop it off with 2x4s, it could continue to stand at least for a while longer. In much the same way, a mind worn thin by pain, fatigue, or despair may feel ready to collapse under the weight of suffering, but with the support of courageous and deliberate effort, it can remain upright and steadied. If not fully restored, it allows the practice to continue, walking the path with renewed sense of freshness and vigilance. Even when conditions are unfavorable, here effort becomes not merely a force of will, but a kind of inner scaffolding, supporting the integrity of mindfulness and presence when they are at the risk of crumbling. This is the second level of effort, or the function of the effort to sustain continuity in the face of adversity, to prevent the collapse of practice. That is also what I mentioned in brief last time. The function of the effort is supporting the mind and the mental factors which are about to collapse, which are about to surrender or give up. At that moment, launching energy or initial energy is no longer effective. So you need to push your energy up, especially when you face discomfort, pain, or unpleasant sensation. That is what yogis mostly face or confront. That is the moment when yogis are about to collapse. That is the moment when yogis' minds are about to surrender or give up. So that's why we need to boost up. So the question now is how to boost up, how to uplift the energy, especially when you face the unpleasant sensation. Before talking the conditions or the causes or causative factors of the boosting of energy, first I would like to talk how to deal with unpleasant sensation. So how to deal with the unpleasant sensation? To deal with unpleasant sensation, first meditators should change the mentality, because mostly the meditators believe that the discomfort, pain, or unpleasant sensation arise due to the meditation. That is not true. We have been living with pain, discomfort, unpleasant sensation throughout our entire life. From top of the head to the tip of the toes, unpleasant sensations are there. You will see the unpleasant sensation and all over the body. So remove the concept or idea that the unpleasant sensations are arising due to the meditation. Then you have to accept. Acceptance is essential while practicing meditation. Various types of objects arise while practicing meditation: pleasant, unpleasant, good, bad, wholesome, unwholesome. All sorts of objects arise. Your duty is to observe them. Hence, you have to accept. Good or bad, pleasant, unpleasant, wholesome, unwholesome, you have to accept. You can't react. You can't kick them away. So acceptance is required. Then when you are about to observe the unpleasant sensation, you should not observe that pain, that unpleasant sensation with expectation. Generally, meditators observe with expectation to get rid of that pain, get rid of that unpleasant sensation, or to make the pain, unpleasant sensation to disappear. We don't absorb unpleasant sensation to make it disappear. We don't. That is not our goal. We absorb to know its nature, to know its nature, nature of impermanence, nature of suffering, and nature of selflessness. Simply, we observe unpleasant sensation to develop mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. That is the goal. We observe pain like other objects to develop mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Because if you have expectation, that is the hindrance. Expectation is hindrance in practice, and if you absorb the unpleasant sensation or pain with expectation, you can't move forward. You can't move forward, hence you stagnate or you remain stuck at that stage. Hence you become more frustrated, irritated, agitated, because things are not happening as you expected. That's why the more expectation, the more frustration. The more expectation, the more irritation or agitation, aversion arise. Hence, don't absorb the unpleasant sensation with expectation. Your duty is to observe, just to observe, again with accurate aiming and sufficient effort. Just observe it. And when you observe, again, you should not behave the pain as like unfriend or as enemy, someone or something that is distracting, annoying, or disturbing or bothering you in meditation practice. No. Unpleasant sensation, pain is also the object to be observed. In Satipatthana Sutta, that you recite every day after the Dhamma talk, it is mentioned there that a bhikkhu or a meditator contemplate the feeling in the feelings. So that is the object to be observed. Pain, unpleasant sensation is also the object to be observed. So don't behave as enemy or obstacle or unfriend. You have to behave as a friend, because unpleasant sensation helps you to develop concentration. When you observe unpleasant sensation, it's easy to develop concentration. Patience develops, mind becomes stronger. Mind becomes stronger. So with that mentality, with that conviction, have to observe the pain or unpleasant sensation. Now, with that mentality, you have to first zoom in into the pain. You have to zoom in. Generally, we don't try to zoom in because we behave like enemy, we hate, we dislike, or we don't accept. As you accept, as you behave like a friend, now you should try to penetrate into that pain. Zoom in into the pain with great effort. By zooming in into the in, you may see different sensations involving there. Pain is not just a simple pain, like it contains other sensations, like a prickling sensation, tension, tightness, heat, stretching, twisting, turning, happening these things inside the pain. As you come to see these things, I believe you will have some relief in your mind, because you feel annoying, you feel disturbed, or you feel discomfort, and you become distracted. You believe that, because you believe that there is no change in pain or unpleasant sensation, it just keep increasing, no change at all. That mentality unwise or the bother or makes even more difficult to absorb the unpleasant sensation. But as you see something happening inside the pain, then some relief will be there. Especially when you see the appearance and the disappearance of the pain, then it becomes really easy to absorb the unpleasant sensation, no matter how strong that pain is, no matter how intensive that pain is. If not disappearing, or if not seeing the changes of the pain, at least as you zoom in, zoom into the pain, you may feel that the pain is like apart from your body, not related to your body. And that kind of does feeling does arise when you observe with concentration. Like you feel, like at the beginning you feel pain on your leg, pain on your body, but later you don't feel as your body, pain in your body, pain in your leg, or pain in your hand or somewhere else. You may feel it is apart from the body. At that time also you don't feel discomfort anymore, and it becomes easier to absorb that pain or discomfort or unpleasant sensation. So this is the first technique. This is the first technique to deal or to absorb the pain or unpleasant sensation. There are still a few more techniques left to talk, but time is already up. We will continue next time to how to deal with unpleasant sensation. For today, as I have mentioned, there are three types of wrongful thoughts may arise when you lack the accurate aiming and sufficient energy to absorb the presently arising object. So each and every moment, make sure that you apply accurate aiming and sufficient energy, effort to keep your mind free from these three kinds of wrongful thoughts, and to fight uh, against the first Mara, army of the Mara, and of course to fight with the second army of the Mara. And by fighting with accurate aiming and sufficient effort, may you be victorious.